Good afternoon. It's 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock somewhere. Good afternoon. Welcome to the December meeting of the St. Tammany Parish Board of Adjustment. Everybody out there, please silence your electronic devices, and I'm the worst culprit of that one, so I got mine silenced. So, everybody's okay. Madam Secretary, can we have a roll call?
Mr. Ballantyne.
Present. Here.
Mrs. Thomas.
Present.
Mr. Daly.
Present.
Mr. Blosh. Mr. Swindell.
Present.
Mr. Sanders. Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you. We'll start the proceedings. Any appeals to the decisions of this board should be addressed to the 22nd Judicial Court. Speaker cards are available over here on your left, my right, but you don't have to worry about it. There's only 7 of us in a room, and we'll get to everybody, and we'll address all the cases. In public speaking, 10 minutes are allowed for the person requesting the variance to make their case, and then there will be 10 minutes for rebuttal, or 10 minutes for the opposing, if there's anyone in opposition. And then after that, each side would then have 5 minutes for any rebuttal. And then please, as soon as your case is discussed and a decision is made, please leave the room so we can proceed quickly to the next case. Any case that's voted on today, there are 4 affirmative votes that are required to pass one of these cases. You will notice that we only have 4 votes here. So every one of us has to vote unanimously on your case. So if you would like to postpone your case, when you may have 5 voting members, you can do that. But anybody interested? I don't see anybody. We'll proceed with the procedures today. How about the minutes from our November meeting? I, in fact, read them. And
No comments.
can I have a motion?
Good. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Mr. Swindell made a motion to, hi, Aaron, welcome. Mr. Swindell made a motion to approve the minutes. Have a second.
I'll second that.
And a second by Sean. No further discussion. Please vote with your screen.
Motion carries. All in favor.
Thank you. The first case for this afternoon is BOA case 3535, a variance on the setbacks. I understand.
We have a request to postpone from the property owner.
The property owner is requesting another postponement. As you remember, this started, I believe, in September. Is that correct?
October.
October, 2 months. Okay, so we're only 2 months. So would someone like to make a motion on the postponement?
I move to allow for the postponement of BA case 3535.
Ms. Thomas has made a motion to approve the request by the homeowner for a postponement of his case. Any other, can I have a second?
I'll second it.
And second by Mr. Swindell. Any other discussion before we vote? Seeing none, vote with your screen. Okay.
All in favor.
We're doing well here. The next case for this afternoon is BOA case 3613. This is request by an applicant in an HC3 highway commercial district to increase the maximum allowed square footage of a monument sign from 32 square feet to 52 square feet. The property is located at 4095 Louisiana Highway 59, Mandeville, Louisiana, Ward 4, District 5, the applicant is the Waring Oil Company, Mr. Charles Wilson, and the representative is Munn Enterprises, Carrie McAlpin Little. Staff comments, please.
This is a site of an older gas station that is currently under renovation, and they're also building a new canopy for the gas pump. And the applicant is requesting to increase the allowable 32 square foot monument sign to a 52 square foot monument sign, which equates to a 20 square foot increase of the total allowable square footage. Should the board be in favor of the requested variance, the sign shall be subject to the following. The internal illumination will have to be a negative contrast, and should the board not be in favor of the requested variance, the sign shall be amended to the following: to be reduced to 32 square feet, and the changeable message portion would also have to be reduced to half, and also subject to meeting the requirements for the internal illumination.
Thank you. Who is here to talk about this case? Please come forward, state your name and address and your affiliation to this case.
Hi, I'm Carrie McAlpin Little, and I work with Munn, hopefully I didn't hit a button, Munn Enterprises in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. We're the sign manufacturer installation company.
Do you have anything to add about the case for our consideration?
Just that we ask that the variance be granted. Due to where the sign has to be located, there's a lot of trees in the area, so we're asking for a little bit more, only 20 more square feet, to make it a little bit more visible. But it also has to do with the branding of the company, that we have to meet their brand as well as being able to be visible. And I think this one, yeah, it's a Texaco. In order to get their Texaco and their Techron branding, we needed a little bit more square footage, if possible. We will be able to do the night vision, the dual vinyl that will make it.
The contrast?
Yes, sir. And if we do the 52 square feet, if we're allowed to do that, we will still be at a little under half with the changeable message center. Well, it's LED pricers with a changeable message. So we would be under that half that's required with that 52 square feet at 19.
Okay. Just step back and stay right there.
Okay.
Is there anyone here in opposition to this request? Seeing none, do we have any questions or comments from the board?
We have looked at these types of things before, and based upon changes from when this was written to now, I went back and looked a little bit, and we have approved these kinds of signs before based on current technology, and it's safer really for drivers, et cetera. So I'm just saying that. I know that we have done this before.
Thank you.
So I'm going to fill out a card for you.
We have your information.
Okay.
So.
Where's he going? Where's she going? Any other questions or comments?
Yeah.
Mr. Swindell?
So I struggle with this a bit. I think the staff comments generally are right on the money. That the parish adopted this Unified Development Code many years ago for a reason, and the reason is to carry us into a much different style and preserve trees and do all these other things. And a lot of the reasoning in the documentation that was submitted was all about what other people have done that are in the area. And frankly, they just got lucky, like they're all legal, non-conforming signs, but the standards are different now. And as a parish, we have to start somewhere. And so we can't just willy-nilly grant everybody the ability to do something that doesn't meet the current standards just because other people didn't have to do it 10 years ago or however long ago that was. And so I struggle with this. Now, I'll be honest, I think the layout of the sign seems appropriate. I mean, you're asking, you said only 20 more square feet, but that's 60% larger than what the Unified Development Code allows. And I personally, I just think it's a stretch. I also struggle a little bit with I hear you say the thing about the changeable portion, the changeable message portion can't be less than 1/2 the total area of the sign face. But now if we grant you the ability to go 60% larger, essentially now we're giving you 60% more for changeable space. And so, like, I don't know. I mean, I'll be honest, I struggle with it. I don't have any questions. I struggle with what we're charged with is upholding this Unified Development Code that was all done for a reason. And we've got to start somewhere, and me personally, this one's I think just pushing the limit of what we should be doing.
Mr. Daly.
Yeah, I mean, I'll echo that with, as we evolve and change things, and yeah, there's non-conforming uses out there, but, we should stick to the code. My question, though, is about the exceedance. It looks like it's mostly the bottom part, the Techron branding you said, is most with and I know you probably can't have it without that, but is it fair to say that's pretty much what's causing the exceedance, and that the normal Texaco and the gas changeable section, that's the gas prices, is sort of within the code?
It definitely is, and Techron is one of the things that they require the Texaco stations to have.
Right.
And it has to be a certain size for visibility.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Would someone like to make a motion?
All right, so I'll remind us again, I'm going to make a motion to approve this variance as requested so that we can do this in the affirmative. Again, I'll make a motion to approve this variance 3613 as requested.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Mr. Swindell and a second by Ms. Thomas to approve the request for variance. Any other comment? Vote with your screen.
Motion fails. 2 yeas and 2 nays.
Thank you. Okay. The next case for this afternoon is BOA case 3619, request by an applicant in a NC4 neighborhood institutional district for an after-the-fact variance request to replace existing trees originally planned to be maintained within the street planting areas and the side buffer planting areas with equally credited trees. The property is located at 222 Louisiana Highway 21 in Madisonville, Louisiana, Ward 1, District 1. The applicant is Ellison Holdings, LLC, Wayne Crentel, and representative is Jeffrey Shane from Jones Fusel. Staff comments, please.
Got it. This property is part of the Highway 21 Plan Corridor Overlay and has received approval from the Zoning Commission for a particular planting plan, engineered drainage plans, site plans, things like that. So they were granted their building permit in March 15th of 2023 to allow for the construction of the dermatology clinic. And since then, during the construction, several trees were removed that were supposed to stay as part of the approved planting plan. There were 15 trees removed in total, some in the front buffer, some to the northern side yard buffer, and some to the southern side yard buffer. The applicant has submitted a proposed replanting plan, which can be found in your packets. There's also a tree removal plan, which is found in your packets, which identifies which trees were cut down. and the original approved planting plan that was approved as part of the planned corridor overlay. Since we provided you these packets, the applicant has been working with staff to come up with another replanting plan, which I just provided to you.
Thank you. Mr. Daly.
I just have a question. So in the staff report, it had comments about, although the proposed plan meets current code, it's recommended. Does this current one meet what was recommended from?
The one we just provided to you?
Yes, the
Yes.
one.
It meets current code for the planned corridor overlay.
Okay, and it meets what the staff comment was as well?
Yes, for
Okay.
the most part, yes.
Okay, for the most, well, sounds good. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Mr. Shane, please state your name and address and your affiliation. Well, I guess I did that, but tell us
Thank you. Yes, sir.
what you'd like to say about the case.
Good afternoon. For the record, Jeff Shane of the Jones Fussell Law Firm at P.O. Box 1810 in Covington. I have the pleasure of representing Ellison Holdings LLC, which is the owner of the property, but also the pleasure of representing the McDaniel Dermatology Skin Surgery Institute, which will be the occupant of this facility with a dermatology clinic. With me this afternoon, I have Mr. Wayne Krentel, who's the general contractor, his wife, Dr. Brianna McDaniel, who is the dermatologist, currently doing business in Ashland Business Park, and will be moving, obviously, from that location to this new location. And then I have John Catalanato with Fairway Engineering, who is the professional involved with some of the site plan elements, et cetera. So if I could give a brief history, as staff has stated, this property being located on Highway 21 actually needed a zoning change to facilitate this use, but also because it was in the Highway 21 corridor, we needed to have a planned corridor review. And both of those elements, if you will, were presented to the Zoning Commission. As part of the planned corridor review, you submit a landscape plan that gets approved as well as your site plan. So at this point, literally today, this project is about 98% complete with about a $3.5 million investment in the ground, a building that is soon to be ready for occupancy as my client's lease ends at the end of this month, December, and her plan is to occupy and open for business in January of 2024. We come to the table acknowledging that some trees were taken out of the buffers during the construction process. A variety of reasons as to why some of those trees were taken. Some, in our view, had failed, did not have good health. Some had been struck by lightning. Some, quite frankly, may have been taken out by mistake, an error on our part. So to the extent there's a confession and an apology, I offer that sincerely. But we knew that we would be required to meet, of course, the landscape plan that had been approved by the Zoning Commission, and also a landscape requirement that is set by code. So we appreciate the fact that staff, I guess for the last 6 to 8 weeks, has worked very closely with us in identifying not only what was taken down, but more importantly, how we might replant to meet code. So now I'd like to be a little more specific with regard to what we've presented you today. As you have probably read through the staff report in preparation for the meeting, staff has clearly stated that the initial plan that we submitted to staff for this hearing this evening did in fact meet the minimum requirements and met code. But staff felt that because trees had been removed without permission, that we should go beyond code and in fact replace 1-for-1 all trees that had been taken out unauthorized. And we agree with that premise. There is no pushback. So we submitted a plan 2 weeks or so ago for staff review that we thought would satisfy the one-for-one requirement. There was some, I guess, discussion and that perhaps we didn't get it quite right. So we came back and made further adjustments on the plan that you have before you that were handed out this afternoon, which we believe meets not only code, it exceeds code, and most importantly, I think it meets this idea of one-for-one, meaning that whatever was taken has now in fact been replaced. So with those things having been said, and with a project that will soon be seeking a certificate of occupancy for a very good dermatologist that has a flock of patients that need to have a place to go in January, we respectfully request that you consider granting this after the fact variance so that we can complete the planting plan as indicated and proceed toward finishing up what I think will be not only a good project for my client, but one that's very handsome and fits well into that Highway 21 corridor. So if you have further questions or comments that I or the consultant can address, we'll be glad to do so during the hearing. Otherwise, we would respectfully appreciate your grant of variance for the reasons stated. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone here in opposition to this case? Seeing none? Mr. Swindell.
All right, so I really appreciate the recognition of staff's comments and the work you guys did with the staff in order to get to the plan that was just put in front of us today. So I had a whole page worth of notes here as to why I was going to.
There was no one else that got any comments from the audience?
There was no opposition.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to, I will not forget these two people.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Swindell, please proceed.
So I had a page worth of notes. I was going to explain why I didn't feel like I was going to vote for this request. Now I'm changing. So I mean, at the end of this, I will vote to support this request. But I want to make sure that I state the reasons why I wouldn't have, so that when somebody in the future goes to look at our minutes or look at some history, they understand the work that I think that should be done as long as I'm on the board. So I think you stated it just right, Mr. Shane, that the original revised plan that we have in our packet, according to the staff comments, just didn't replant one for one. It may have met the code, but it didn't replant one for one. And I think at least since I've been on this board, we've really set a standard about really being not harder, but really paying particular attention to these after the fact requests. And I think that it certainly is important that you guys made it to that mark of the one-for-one replanting, despite the errors that were made with removal of those trees. So I'll just say it again, I appreciate the effort to get to that point. And Aaron, if you'll just confirm that this does meet the one-for-one replanting that you guys had asked for in the comments, I think we'll be good.
Yes, sir, it does.
Awesome.
Thank you. Ms. Thomas.
I would totally agree with what Mr. Swindell said. I, too, was going to have to back off on that, but since they have worked with it, and I commend, and I want to know if we get a discount at the dermatology clinic. Besides that, I do appreciate y'all working with the staff, because that is, especially after the fact, we tend not to do that, so.
Thank you. Any other comment? I don't see anybody else's. Would someone like to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have the right one in front of me? Request 3619 as requested.
Well,
Based on
with
December
today's,
1st.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, thank you. Based on the December 1st replanting plan.
So Mr. Swindell has made a motion to approve the request based on the most recent landscaping plan. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
And a second by Mr. Daly. Any other further discussion? Please vote with your screen.
All in favor, motion carries.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Happy holiday. Now, the couple right here, I didn't want to ignore you. Would you like to come forward and, what's that?
I happen to be, my name is Charlie Clark. I live at 21458 Casville Drive. Mr. Chairman, I simply am a patient of McDonald's dermatologist, come to my lifeline, and I was trying to make sure that I had a place to go in January. So I appreciate who you are and what you've done, and I certainly support what's going on here. I spent 31 years as a conservation officer with the Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries, so renewable natural resources are what I gave the best years of my life for. And you're doing the right thing here, and I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for your service. Mr. Shane made that clear. You know, people need a place to go in January. The gentleman in the back there.
It's from the council office.
I'm council staff. I'm just here to,
Well, we're glad to have you.
thanks.
Any back to we got old business. We've got December the 12th. We got training. Get all our training done, and any other old business?
Nope,
And that's going to be held in your building.
that's correct. Yeah. Well, you did all your training.
Yes, I'm
Yeah,
done.
You're done, yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah. December.
Okay. Any other old business from over here on the port side? Okay. What about new business?
I think we have 2 cases for January.
And the meeting is on Wednesday in January. That would be January the 3rd.
Yep.
And I will not be here.
I'll be here.
Miss Thomas will be here. Okay. Anything else? Meeting adjourned.
Merry Christmas to all.
Wait a minute.
Season's bright.
Hold on.